I knew maybe 3 things about Diana before we were actually introduced. But that was enough. To know that she was my soulmate, I was in love with her, and it would be nothing short of tragic if we didn't spend the rest of our lives together. I knew that she was majoring in poetry, and although I'd never read her work, I felt quite confident that she had a brooding soul, and she was insightful with a sense of humor, and I was pretty impressed by that. I knew that she was really good at skiing and at tennis, 2 things I was terrible at, but it's also quite possible that she had been pushed in that direction by her parents, and she was really more into camping and the outdoors, which is crazy because I was totally into that too. I also knew that she was really hot. And the best thing about that was that had nothing to do with why I was interested in her. It was a bonus, I guess, but it really had nothing to do with what I liked about her. So from a few facts, I actually felt like I had discovered her entire personality. Kind of like looking into the sky and finding a few stars and discovering a constellation and an entire myth to support it. Now, when we did meet, we did hit it off and we became friends, though she had some difficulty recognizing that I was her soulmate. We would talk about poetry and Bob Dylan lyrics and who we wanted to be when we graduated. She told me once that she didn't think she could ever be a real poet because she was just too happy. I thought that was sweet, particularly because it seemed that even she didn't recognize that she had a brooding soul. So we started to hang out more, and we got to be pretty good friends, and we didn't see each other that often. She was busy with sports and friends and dates, and when I did see her, I would try and quote a few of my favorite poetry lines from way back when that I had looked up that morning and quickly memorized. And at some point, I said to her, "Diana, I think I love you." And she said, "Keith, I love your mind." And I failed to realize there was a big but that was implied after that. And I thought, I'm so close to making this happen. And I ached for her. And her birthday was coming around, which fell on Valentine's Day, and I thought, okay, I need to do something bold. Something bold but simple, something bold but simple and cheap. So I thought, I'm gonna do like a little Romeo and Juliet thing where I'll get a ladder and I'll put it up to her 2nd floor off-campus window and give her a single red rose. Yeah. So the day before her birthday, which is also the day before my Soviet history midterm, which I'm ill-prepared for, I get up early to get a flower and then go to the library. But I spend all morning going to 3 different florists until I find that perfect rose. By the time I get back, it's lunchtime and I need a ladder. So I borrow a friend's car and I go to the hardware store, and it turns out I can't remotely afford a ladder. So what I can't afford is a hammer and some nails. So I go out into the forest and decide I'm going to build a ladder. Over the course of about 3 hours, I'm able to knock down about a 12-foot dead tree with nothing but my body weight and a hammer. I break off the limbs and I hammer them into the sides. It takes me well over an hour to carry this back to campus because it's like a telephone pole that's ripping up my arms as I go. But I get there, and I have time to get some quick dinner, and then go to the library and study for a little bit. But, I'm having trouble focusing on Stalin's second 5-year plan and thinking, really, love is so much more important than the proletariat. Love is really the only thing I should be focusing on right now. So I go out and I walk around until it's time to execute this plan of mine. And then I find myself standing under Diana's window at 2 o'clock in the morning. I haven't really thought about how I'm going to wake her up, so I'm just kind of looking around, and I get some snowballs and just start chucking them at her window. The light goes on. She, mussed hair, comes to the window, opens it about 3 inches, and she looks out and says, "Keith?" And I think I can hear a little bit of that tone in her voice, because she is a romantic, and these are the kinds of things we've talked about, just not necessarily with me. And there's also a tone in her voice, though, as if she's just opened her bedroom closet door to find me there in her underwear, putting on her lipstick. But I just say, "Hold on." Like, I grab my ladder and I put it up vertically against the wall like it's a siege tower, and I put the rose in my teeth, and I take a first step on that first rung, and it creaks really heavily as if it's saying, "This is a really bad idea." And the second one is just backing it up. The third one, on the other hand, is completely quiet. Like, it's just sitting there eating popcorn thinking, I kind of want to see where this goes. The fourth one snaps immediately, taking matters into its own hands. It's not going to let me do this, but I'm committed. So I pull and I shimmy and I get to the top, and I realize I have severely underestimated the height of this window. So I'm balanced on the top of this tree and clinging to the sill with my head poking at the window. And I take the rose out of my teeth and I say, hey. As if I'm surprised to see her there. Because I'm trying to play it cool, which there's really no way to do that in this situation. I calm my nerves and I say, Diana, I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday and a happy Valentine's Day. And I look over at that rose and I stare at it. And I stare at it for a little while. Because somewhere in all of the chaos, I've failed to notice that the head fell off the flower at some point. And I've got a cold, thorny stem of a weed to represent my love. And I just kind of say, there was a flower here. And she asks me, she said, was it a rose? I said, it was. It was a rose. It was a really good rose. It was a beautiful rose. And she laughs, thank God, and she says, I have no doubt. I'm not really sure what to do at this point, so I'm just going to keep going with the plan. So I pass it through that little window slot, like a prisoner passing out the only pathetic thing he has of value in the world to someone on the outside. And she takes it, and she smiles, and she holds it to her nose, and she closes her eyes, and she smells it. Yeah, right? And maybe it's a great moment, and maybe it's not for me, it's the gesture, but she's in something. And I think it's perfect, and I'm not gonna fuck it up. So I decide to just climb off the ladder, kind of follow, bye, and grab the ladder, and I ditch it on the quad, and I go to bed. The next day, I fail my Soviet midterm. And that night, I'm sitting alone at the dining hall, and Diana walks up to me, and she sits down, and she says, thank you. And she tells me it was really sweet. I say, seriously, not a big deal, no problem. And she proceeds to tell me about the rest of her birthday and everything she was doing, but the problem is I'm not listening at all. I'm just kind of thinking, I think I need to do something bolder here. Because obsession is that power to completely cherry pick and twist reality to fit the narrative that's going to keep you in a state of exhilaration. Now, I don't do anything bolder. I just kind of puppy dog after her for a few more months until graduation. And it's overall kind of a sad and embarrassing obsession. But I choose to believe that for at least one night, it was something better than that. That for a few minutes on Valentine's Day, it was okay for each of us to be caught up in something that we thought was beautiful, even when we knew it wasn't actually there. Thanks.